Morning watchers, Scott at SE Landscaping, and I've just arrived at our first job today. It is raining. It is 28th of March, last Tuesday in March, and various jobs to do today. So the plan is I'm going to put a couple of plants in that I've split up from another job. I had a large pampas grass that was getting too big for its area, so what I did, I dug it out and I managed to get 6 plants off it. I've put the plant back in, which will grow again, and I've got 5 plants to use on jobs. So it's the same again, customers are getting free plants. It fills spots on beds that I'll show you in a minute. And then after that, I've got a meeting for Christmas lights. We've got some Christmas lights to put in some trees on a job that we already do Christmas lights for. Excuse me. And then hopefully, if the weather stays right, I've got 2 students. It's the first grass cuts of the year, not first visits, because January and February we do monthly visits because there's not very little to do, and then come March we do an early monthly visit, pick up branches and things, and then this is the first grass cut, and then it drops on 2 visits a month. So we'll try and get some footage at the students. It's about 20 minutes away from my meeting. Like I say, we'll get some footage of these plants going in first, and I'll show you also the difference I've made in these areas. I think on a previous video these areas had very little in, and I'll show you how packed I've got them without spending, well, I tell a lie, I bought some bulbs from the plant shop, which I talked about on an early video, which have been very successful. You don't always need to go and buy fancy expensive £10 bulbs. You can go to the pound shop, and not everyone will come up, but I've had some good success. So there's a tip. Just get them out the bag, wet them is the key to put them in the ground, and then so you soak them a bit, just to because if you put them in the ground it's dry, they're not getting any water even in winter. So soak them in a bit of water, put them in the ground, and they'll shoot away. So I'll show you these borders of how packed I've got them. It's just a shame that I've got no photos of them being bare, because apart from a few shrubs there was nothing in at all. So I'll show you that once we get down there, and we'll get some plants put in. So for the students today, we've got our old Hater and our old Ferris. As I've explained before, first cuts we go in with the old machines, and these are the plants we've got. And this is part of the pampas grass, so there's plenty of root on that, so it will grow. I've got another one there which I'm going to put in another job. So come down here, and we're going to plonk it in this area here. That, ladies and gentlemen, is about a £15 plant in the garden centre. And these are the borders I mentioned. In the past all we had was a shrub and loads of gaps. We've got geraniums, irises, we've got hypericums, we've got eucharis. All plants are split up and all for free, daffodils. So everything in there. And then as we spin back round, the same this side, same again, all plants for free. There's forsythia coming into flower there, lots of peonies, same again, we only had 1 peony in, now they're everywhere. We've got some Montpretia, some arum lily which spread like mad, so just be careful with them, because if you don't watch it, they will end up there, and everywhere. And just gradually working up, so filling areas. So I wasn't here to do any general gardening, but as you can see, unfortunately this area has been missed. Just a little small section here has been missed of weeding. Yes, some of these are bulbs coming through, but 10-minute job. I'll get the weeds out. So, tidies that section up. There's a few bulbs popping up here and there, and little herbaceous plants and things which have been left. So it tidies it up. So, as I've said previous, we do 100 odd sites now, but last year we were pushing on for 200 separate sites, and this is the reason why I'm saying that you've got to visit sites on a regular basis and got to keep tip top. So you show people something, and then every so often things get missed, and that's one of the things that should be, that little area there where I've put them plants in should be weeded. But do you get someone back? Do you send her back over and say, look, you need to go over there and finish that? Or do you spend 10 minutes and do it yourself? Cost the time and everything else that it takes to do it. You may as well just do it sometimes. And then I will reiterate afterwards that I've had to do that, and it needs adding to the list like before. But if there's one of them on every site, that's 110 minutes added up. I'm not saying it is, because I don't think it is. It's probably just been missed over winter. So it's done now, it's tidy, that plant's in. Like I say, £15 that plant would cost in a garden centre. I've split the previous one into 6, so that gives you a rough idea that I've had £90 worth of plants for free off a job. And you can do that on a lot of species. Geranium, you can get 4 or 5 geraniums out of a job, and that's £25 worth of plants. So if you've got a plant scheme coming up where someone wants you to design a scheme, you can actually go on to one of your jobs and you can say, right, I've got 6 geraniums there that need splitting up. Go back to that client and you say, right, I think we should put 6 geraniums in, 6 eucharis, 6 whatever else's, and you can either, and then you can bill for them plants for these schemes. A lot of these jobs, like I say, I'm filling gaps to help us on these jobs, so I don't charge, because it makes the area better and it cuts down on the weeding and the cultivating by filling these gaps. But if it's a special job for someone else, you can actually take these plants and you can actually make money off them, and it saves you the cost, and as well as that, it goes on your profit. So I've done numerous jobs like this over the years where I've made extra money off jobs with free plants. So, and then you get the woody plants like cornus. If you're cutting a cornus down in the winter, everybody knows they grow sort of 3-4 foot a year. Prune them off, stick 100 of them in the ground if you've got a space, and 80 of them will grow. If you just cut them down to a node, I'll do a video on this later in the year, 80 of them will grow. And then you've got 80 cornus plants for free, which in a garden centre are £5 each. So it's just trying to if you're a regular gardener, it's trying to make money. Whether you have an allotment garden or a little bit of land somewhere on a site out the way. I have a lot of sites, so I have little bits of land where I can do this with corners, and I can plant things and nobody would notice. Then you go back once they've rooted, or once you see a few leaves, dig them up, hey presto, it's free plants. So there's so many ways to maximise your profits and to make money with very little outgoings, and that's just one of them. The plant splitting is the big one, because plants now, since COVID, gardening has got bigger business, huge more. There's a lot more money spent in gardens since COVID, so the price of plants has driven up, because garden centres know they can sell everything, and that's the same again about splitting plants, sticking them in pots, and making lots and lots of readies. So we're going to go to a meeting now about the Christmas lights. It is absolutely tanking down now. I'm just hoping that my site that I'm going to is 13 miles away. The students. The first one's okay, because I'm going at it with the Ferrous Mulcher, and there's only a little bit of growth off the winter because we caught it back end. So all I'm doing today is smartening it up and taking the tops off. So I'm not worried about that side. The second side, I'm going at it with the Hater 41 today, and I'll show you why later, because the access is really tight. I think I can get a 56 in, but I really need to measure it today. So we're going to go there afterwards with the Hater, and it might be something where we have to blow the grass off first, but hopefully not. Hopefully it'll be dry over there, and we'll get a bit of luck. So stay tuned, and we shall catch up in a bit. So
difficult for them to.
I've got something on in the background here, which I'll turn off now.
You, as the owner.
Now that is episode 32 of the Talking Heads podcast, which Andrew Wayne spoke about. Anybody who's keen on gardening, you can get it on Spotify. Andrew Wayne mentioned it a few months ago to me, and I'm now 32 episodes in. It's about two head gardeners, and they talk everything about gardening, plants, and they get special guests on, and it's something that I listen to whenever I'm on a journey. Now it is 8:20, and the main reason I'm usually on site before 8 and I don't leave sites till after 9 is because of traffic. This is the school run, and although I'm only travelling 13 miles, it's what would usually be a sort of 10-minute, 15-minute journey is probably going to be about 35 minutes today, and that's the reason why this site So I had a meeting this morning, which unfortunately was at 8 o'clock or just before, and that's why I'm stuck in traffic. But usually the logistics I work out are the logistics, which mean I'm not stuck in any traffic and I can get straight to site. So if I was on site now, I'd be leaving the first site I'm going to after 9. There'd be no traffic because the school run's done and the traffic eases after in the northeast. It eases after 9 and starts up again at sort of 2 o'clock, so you get 5 good hours. So that's the main reason about saving time and doing the logistics of journeys and things and planning ahead, because this isn't what I call fun. So coming back to Talking Heads, they do I think a couple of episodes a week, and it is they had Adam Frost on, who I was looking to meet a few months ago at a talk, and they had him on, and they have other people like that off the telly and various other gardens and things, so you can take a lot from the episodes. Well worth a listen for anybody looking for something to pass the time of day while you're driving. So we have got showers forecast from midday today, and we've just arrived at our first job. This was a job that we took on a couple of years ago when the grass hadn't been cut. It's that one ahead here, the student block. The grass hadn't been cut for about a year and it was a mess, and we cut it all down, raked it off and things. So we are here today. We do everything maintenance except the litter, because the caretaker does the litter. So we are here today to mow some lawns and to do some general tidying up, a bit of weed killing if it stays dry. So that is the plan of action. So we shall get cracked on, and if we've got time, this one or the next one, we may even get a little bit of footage. So that's the grass cutting, strimming and blowing done. I've just got a knapsack on my back. I'm just going around the gravel strips now. But as everybody knows, I'm very transparent about what we do. Put a picture on of a park last week which looked amazing, but not every site is like that, and I'll spin you around and show you why. So this grass has been mulched 3 times and it's still not the best finish in the world. There's still a lot of grass on, but it's first cuts and it's the best you're going to get. Yes, it does look half decent, it's not really poor, but it's not top class, and that will take time. That will go into April before you can get this absolutely amazing, like the rest of the sites. So it is tidy, and I've had to do 2 or 3 cuts in places because it was a bit longer than I thought, but it's come up quite well. So it's just a matter of blasting the winter growth off these gravel strips, and then come next visit they'll be tidy and tidy going forward in the season. It's been mild at times and weeds haven't stopped growing. And a couple of more bits there. Same again, just spraying the gravel strip and the lawn looks tidy. So that's site 1 knocked out, and it is 20 past 10, so we've got 15 minutes left. So all I'm going to do is, there's a couple of areas over the far side, there's a bit of moss on some of the footpaths, so I'm going to go and do that bit of moss. We'll just come back to first cuts. The last time I was here the grass wasn't too bad, and then it shot away. We had a warm spell last week of a few days, and then it had a cold spell, and we've got another cold spell coming this week, so it's a chance to go back over now. But first cuts, sometimes you have to go over things 2 or 3 times with a mulching mower. If you're boxing grass off like the little bits you saw earlier, it's okay because it's you taking the grass away and collecting it, and you can have an area tidy. But big areas with the mulcher, tend to go over a couple of times, then lift the pan up and use it like a hairdryer to disperse the grass around, and you get a decent finish. That there, for me, that's an 8 out of 10. It's not perfect, but like I say, it's coming into April, weeds are sprayed now, the grass is cut first cut, so next time you're not going to be cutting as much grass and there's not going to be as many weeds in there, so it's going to make that a lot easier. So it should be a tidy job going forward for the rest of the year. So happy overall, considering, like I say, how long it was, and on to the next one. bit in the chute, but not a lot. All striped tidy. Back of the side, quite long grass again. So like I said, cracking view, but wet day now. But just a tip, I'm meat weed killers as well today, but because it's wet I can't do it. So if you trim the tops off the weeds, they'll survive for about 10 days till they start growing again. After the 10 days you'll be back in 14, so they're not going to be 4 or 5 inches tall in a couple of weeks. So that's just a tip for anybody in the commercial trade. So, finished job. So, the weather has changed. It is peanut down. So, if we can just talk about that job. Got a little bit wet at the end, but it wasn't worth putting the waterproofs on. I'll do that on the next job. Top's a little bit wet, but nothing to worry about. We'll start with a hater. The 41 there, anybody who has a 41 or has ever used a 41, it's like a racehorse. It goes at 100 miles an hour. Now, when you've got long, thick grass and it's wet, years ago these were terrible. The machines do seem to be a lot better now, I think, in my personal opinion. And as you've seen there, the grass was quite long. I've cut it, but I've only cut it with the bar half in. So rather than cutting it at full speed, because what would have happened there was the box would have filled up straight away, the chute would have filled up straight away, and we wouldn't have got the finish we wanted, and we would have been forever clearing it out. Whereas I managed to get down and back up, empty the box, down and back up again, and it's provided a good cut even in the wet weather. So that's the thing with the hater, it's slow and steady. As soon as it got back to the van, chute was blown out and the bag was blown out. So basically the next time I use it this afternoon, provided it's this doesn't end up really heavy, it will do what I need to do. But it's put some nice stripes down there. Now first cut, it's only been cutting on number 4 there, and the plan will be for fortnightly. We will end up cutting on number 3. So it is it's provided a nice finish. Then coming on the back area, which was the one where you saw the not the right stander, the Furus 48 stander. Now that machine there, the first cut I did there, I did on let's think, what did I do? I cut it on 3 1/4, And the reason I cut it on 3 1/4 was if you tried to mulch your way through all that stuff at sort of the desired level, which was 1 3/4 inches, it would have provided a crap finish. So what I did, I cut it at that level and then cut it again, mulched again at a little bit lower, and then finally cut it down to the 1 3/4 inches that I wanted. And by doing that, it's had 3 cuts, but it's mulched, but it's mulched manageable levels of grass rather than trying, like I say, rather than trying to mulch 3 or 4 times the amount of grass down all in one go. It just doesn't work. The finish doesn't get achieved, and it looks crap at the end, because once you've cut it in them big chunks, you can go over it as many times as you want on a certain level, and it'll never come up any better. It'll just stay in them clumps. You've got to cut the grass first. You've got to reduce the height bit by bit first, and by doing it like that, that's how you get your that's how they get the end result there, which, considering it was raining and wet, I think you'll agree that it's done a decent cut in the end. So that's the thing with that. As I popped on about the weed killing, it was too wet to weed kill. I managed to weed kill that first site that I was on earlier, and I'm happy that'll take effect, because it was rain fast from leaving that site to go into this one. It was rain fast for probably an hour. So to be fair with Roundup, that's good enough. So we should have some results with that. But the second site I went to there was a couple of weeds on the path and things that were decent height, sort of 4 or 6 inches. So all I did there was I trimmed them down, and the next time I go, we'll blast them off, and it just means the site's tidy. I'm allocated an hour and a half to that site, and because I've had to cut everything, the back areas a couple of times, it's used up the hour and a half. Usually I've got a bit of time to go around and edge a few paths and pull a few weeds out, but we've still left that site in a good condition. It's not a perfect condition, it's not 100%, but like I say, it's early in the season, we've had a lot of winter growth, and that's echoed when I put my sheets in, me tracking sheets, and I explain all this to the client. I say, look, there's been a lot of winter growth, as you know. The site is probably about 85%, but we've still got it the best we can. So we're happy with the finish on them too. We've been lucky that like I say, we've dodged the weather really on them sites, apart from getting a little bit wet at the end when strimming. Yes, it rained, but overall it was the grass was wet and everything. But overall, the deluge that's here now, we've been quite lucky that we didn't have that. We have that all morning, so hopefully we'll go to the next area and the same thing will happen. But commercial, like I say, it's a funny one. It's some people go into commercial thinking you can bang through work, and people just want the grass cut. There are a couple of clients like that, but the majority of them still want to pay for a decent service and still want a quality finish, and that's what we've achieved on them jobs today, even though we've been up against the weather. So the job I did with the hater, the 56, will be getting the next time I cut that, the 56 will be going on them areas. Like I've said, these machines that I'm using at the moment, they're all last year's old machines. They've got no new blades on, so that if there's bits of twigs and things, they're just picking it up and they're chomping through it, and I haven't got to worry about needing to sharpen it. Then these machines will be held aside for any rough work or any new jobs that we get to where we need to cut something that's a bit messy. So that is the plan going forward. But like I say, last week in March, and this is pretty much sort of how we will be going forward now. April, May, hopefully it'll be better weather, so we'll be doing these same jobs exactly the same on a regular rota basis, but hopefully it'll be the weather will be better and we'll be able to get them looking tip top and 100% rather than the sort of 80s, 85s that we're on at the moment. So thanks for watching. Any questions on mowers, same again, drop me a message. I know mowers are still in short supply, the big stuff, but the little stuff seems to be available. But these any questions, just drop me a message and I will, if I can, I will answer them for you. So thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one.